Hey neighbor, hope you're doing well. We're getting into the fall of the year and I'm getting excited. I'm finally getting excited about getting back in the greenhouse and planting some things. Today we're going to talk about some of those unusual things that you can grow in the fall of the year. Welcome to the Row by Row Gardening Show, the best dadgum gardening show on the internet, where we talk about gardening, a little bit of cooking, and growing your own food. Now sit back and enjoy. Well, there's one thing for certain. If you're gardening, there's always something new to grow. Man, every year it seems like we pick up on something new. A couple of years ago, we picked up on
celery.
Happenstance, bought some bought some plants actually, and we started growing.
You said you can't grow those.
I said you can't grow that, and I was wrong. Did I say I was wrong? Anyway, come to find out, we grow so well here. One thing that I consider myself pretty well versed in gardening, but I'm learning something new all the time. That's the great thing about gardening, is you're always learning something new.
What morning did we walk out? Or you walked out and you said, come feel this?
It was over the weekend. Was it Saturday morning? Might have been Saturday morning.
It was one of the mornings. It was cool.
It was cool.
And then this morning it's hot and humid. My windows are sweating.
Yeah. So
but that cool air makes you think about, ooh, what can I go plant?
Yeah, we're getting there. And within the next couple of weeks, we'll probably have a few more of those mornings.
I hope so.
To me, that's my favorite time of year, is when I walk outside and that cool hits you. Like, oh man, it's here. It's here. The older you get, the more you enjoy fall, I think. Spring has always been my favorite time of the year, but the older I get, the more I enjoy fall. It's weird. Anyway, back to the gardening thing. So one thing that I really try to do is I keep up with the big commercial growers on vegetables. I have several friends I talk to all the time, because that's where most of the innovation comes in at, and I can get some really good information there that's hard to get anywhere else. Just about 2 weeks ago, I've always said you couldn't grow iceberg lettuce in the eastern part of the United States. Wrong. There is some varieties now that they are growing some iceberg lettuce in Florida. Iceberg type lettuces in Florida, yeah. I didn't know that. I thought the only ones we could grow were loose leaf lettuces, but there's some iceberg types that are being grown here. So we don't carry any of them. We may test some and see how they do, but it's just interesting. Another thing is celery. So I wanted to do the show today on celery, so I started looking up online what was out there about how to germinate it. And just about everything I found was wrong. It really took me back a little bit. I don't think I found the first piece of information out there that was correct.
I didn't either. I searched and searched. After you told me that, I was like, okay, how are you right and everybody else in the world's wrong?
Right. So the reason I know I'm right is because the largest celery grower on the eastern United States, I got this information from them, actually from the person that does the seeding and the germination. So I got it from the horse's mouth. Several greenhouse fulls of it, and the information that I got from them is it's just different. Anyway, I'd already known this, but I had another conversation about 6 months ago on this same subject, and I just want to refresh my memory to make sure I was correct. Growing celery in the fall of the year is wonderful. It can be a little bit challenging, and we're going to go over today what the challenges are with growing celery. But we grew it last year. Yeah, we made a heck of a crop out of a root pouch. So I think celery is ideal for root pouches or for raised beds. I don't know from the home garden standpoint if it's worthwhile to grow in ground or not, but I think raised beds, and I'll tell you the reason why, and root pouches are wonderful. The reason is celery will take it down to pretty much freezing temperatures, 32 to 34 degrees, but anything below that you can get damaged. So if you have them in a root pouch, you can do like what we did, just moved it inside the greenhouse on those cold nights and moved it back outside. Or if you got it in raised beds, you can put you a cover over it and protect it.
Mama just kept hers on the porch. She never covered it up.
It's very cold tolerant. I read a lot of things said down to 38 degrees. We've had it down to 32 degrees and it didn't get any damage. Now it makes a difference how much wind you get and how long it stays there, but we had pretty good results with it.
You know, last year I planted mine too thick and it didn't get as big. But talking about planting in the ground, I think these market farmers, I think that would be an awesome
Oh,
crop
absolutely, yeah.
to plant like in a raised bed. You don't need that much.
You're talking about like in not a raised bed, but a mounted in-ground system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I think that would be a very unique something that you can grow. And believe it or not, it's fairly easy to grow. The thing about it is timing's right. Now, if you're a market farmer, you may, and you're in the South United States, you probably want to start your seeds a little bit before now, maybe in August. It takes about 10 weeks to grow these things out for transplants. Now, celery is one of those things you definitely want to transplant. You don't want to direct seed into the ground because these plants are fragile and they take forever to come up, seems like. So weed competition is really tough there if you try to put them in the ground. That's the reason everybody grows them from transplants, because you get a head start when you put that transplant in the ground on those weeds. So get into that. The variety that we're going to plant today is Tango. Tango is probably one of the easiest, if not the easiest to grow variety out there. It's a little more forgiving than any of the rest of them. And it says time to plant would be late summer, which would be where we're at now. I actually think you could probably get by planting this in mid-August if you wanted to. My problem with mid-August is dead-gum hot. So now I'm in the mood to kind of plant things. My plants don't dry out as much in the greenhouse, so I think 1st September is a good time to plant this right here. 90 to 100 days to maturity. This stuff takes about 10 weeks in the greenhouse before you can transplant it. So it takes a little while to grow out. So let's get in here and show people just how you germinate celery, because that is the tricky part. The tricky part is actually not growing the celery, it's to germinating and growing the plants. So what we have here, people, is a good pot medium right there. Any good seed starting mix will work there. I don't think it matters a whole lot about that.
That looks kind of thick.
Thick? What you mean thick?
Maybe because it's wet.
It is wet, so I did wet it down. So you see this tray right here? I debated whether to bring this in here or not. So this is a prototype for a new project we're working on next year.
Was that printed on a 3D printer?
This was printed on 3D, and the new one's not going to be flexible. We did a silicone type product here. But we've got, for next year, we're having the mold made now. We're going to have a 25 cell that's exactly the same as the 162 large tray we have. Make it in a 25 cell tray in a smaller configuration for people that don't need as many plants.
So that's 25 then?
This is 25 cell. So we got this coming for next year.
I like that.
And we got
usually I end up,
planting too much.
Planting, or I've got to, I feel like I got to fill up the tray with something.
Yeah, so this is going to be great here. And it's got the same exact hole, because that 162 is a proven wonderful tray. It's got the little ribs in there. It's identical to the 162. We just took it in a smaller format. Now, we got the bottom tray that's going with this that I'm not going to show right yet, off the chain. I did a couple things with that bottom tray there that nobody's done before. It's going to really up everybody's game on being able to be successful starting. We're trying to take all the pain points out of what problems people have seed starting. Now, I think this with the bottom tray is going to do it. All right, enough of that. When we have these, hopefully come January, we'll do more of that. I do want to ask this question here. Would it be, do people like the different colors trays? Because that's really not an issue. We can do the different color trays. I just wonder if people, now the standard's black. Would you be interested in having different color trays? Maybe a red and black, or maybe a red and black and another color? Would that make a difference to you or not? If you don't mind, put in the comments below and let us know, because this is a decision we're going to have to make.
I'd rather have a C label than a different color tray.
A seed label?
Yeah, in the pack.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Tango celery, we're going to plant them. What we do is after we wet our medium good, we want to do just little small indentions in there. Nothing really tough, just a little bit small indentions there. And then we want to plant. Now, normally speaking, anytime I do any plants, I'll plant more than one seed per tray, and I come back and I like to thin it out. These celery seeds are tiny.
You need my glasses?
I'm gonna need your glasses. And the one
You
way
got your glasses over there.
I got my glasses. One way that I do this right here when these seeds are so small is I'll take my little plant label right here. You gotta make sure it's dry, because if it gets wet, those seeds will kind of stick to it. You could do a little spoon there anyway. See there? Whoa, I got way too many in that one.
Or you could take a toothpick and like wet it.
Yep, I've seen people do that before.
Whoa.
I'm not doing good here at all. Yeah, you do this. Those seeds are small. Now we're probably for next year we're going to offer pelleted seed because I think that would be a big benefit to these right here, especially man. If any seed needs to be pelleted, it's probably this one. And we're probably going to end up going to a different variety at some point next year. Yeah, there you go. You're doing a lot better with that than I do. All right, so here's the trick, folks, with celery germination. The commercial growers germinate this right here at 58 to 60 degrees. That is the ideal temperature. They have these big controlled rooms or trailers that they do this in. Now, I know from a home garden standpoint, we might not could do that. 58 to 60 degrees is a temperature that's just not affordable to most people at home because we don't even keep our houses that cool. But if you got a cool room, you don't want to put this in the refrigerator. You don't want 40 degrees. I'd rather have 65 to 70 degrees than I had 40 degrees. But put this in the coolest place you have possible in your house and leave it there for about 7 days. 7 days is the ideal time of when these things stay in the germination chamber. Now, everything that you read on the internet says it takes light for these celery seeds to germinate.
You need one of those big.
Yeah, that's exactly the opposite of what needs. They do not need light to germinate. I've seen all things about covering with sand, all this kind of stuff. It's not the case. Now, these seeds remind me a lot of tobacco seeds. When germinating these right here, you really just want to press them in the top. Covering them up too much can cause these seeds not to germinate. So what the guys tell me is they put them on top of the soil there and they put a fine. And he emphasized to me, Greg, he said, I'm telling you, just a little bit of perlite. He said just a little bit of perlite on top of this right here. And he said it again and again, just a little bit of perlite. So you don't want much perlite at all. Actually, I think you may could get by with just pressing this into the soil and not covering it up. You know, a lot of our seeds, that's what we recommend is just pressing them in.
Press the seeds in or the perlite?
Press the seeds in, not the perlite, just press the seeds in. So you see here, I put just a little bit on top. And I mean just a little bit, because he said 4 times to me yesterday, Greg, I'm telling you, just a little bit.
So they need light?
Nope, they do not need light. So you can put them in the dark for 7 days till they start coming up. It doesn't matter. But what you want is that cool temperature. You want to keep them nice and moist, just like you would anything else. 7 days inside, pull them out after that. Still keep them in that 60-degree range if you can, and leave them alone and let them come up. Now, celery is just like onions. So once these celeries get on up, we have to trim them back.
Oh, really?
Trim them back just like we're doing. So once they shoot up about this far here, you want to take your scissors and you want to cut about half that off. And what that does is make that stem stronger going into the soil there.
How many times?
Probably do it at least 4 or 5 times. It's going to take you about 10 weeks to grow this out. So you got 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6 cuttings that you could go over there. They use the same exact equipment when they grow this right here as they do the onions. Go in there and just clip them right back. They have the automated things that they use. But you use your scissors, go in there and clip them back, and that'll make a much more stronger plant. Then after about 10 weeks, when you get where these plants will pull out of these trays right here, then it's time to put them into your raised bed in ground, or as we like to do, the root pouch.
All right, so just summarize. Do they require light?
After they germinate.
Okay. The best temperature?
58 to 60 degrees is ideal, but I'd rather go above that than lower than that. So if you had to go 68 to 70, I think you'll still be okay. They probably won't germinate as quick, but you'll be fine there.
Do you need a heat mat?
No heat mat. Yep.
Keep wet or on the dry side?
You want to keep them wet, but there again on this right here, and this is the good thing about these trays right here, any of our trays that we sell with have that big hole in the middle there, and you want to make sure they can drain well.
Should you soak your seeds overnight?
No.
Can you plant directly in the ground?
I would not.
what should you not grow with celery?
Probably any root crops. Would you think so? Yeah.
Nothing to compete with the space.
Yeah, we didn't have any problems last year with disease or insect problems. Now, these varieties that we carry, the Tango, and we're going to be switching to one next year called Morango, I think. All these are disease-resistant good varieties right here. There are probably some open pollinated ones out there that may not have as much disease resistance. I don't know. But these varieties right here are premium seeds. We get these from Bijou out of the Netherlands, which is known for growing celery. They're big celery.
They had pretty celery when we went over there.
Yep.
What about a Greenstalk? You think this would be a good thing for a Greenstalk?
I think it would. I think it would. I definitely think it would.
It said you need a container that's at least 8 inches deep.
Oh yeah, I would think so. And what were you? Did we use a 15-gallon or was it bigger than that root pouch?
It's the same one you've got those potatoes in.
Yeah, you need probably put some organic matter in there, maybe some organic fertilizer. They're fairly heavy feeders, but we kept them fertilized well. But I'm gonna tell you, folks, no brainer. And you talk about a conversation starter. You have somebody over and show them your celery right there. It's often and you go out and catch some of it and eat it. Man,
and it tastes so different.
Oh,
fresh.
It was so much better. It wasn't stringy at all. I don't know if the stringy part comes from the matureness when they cut them in the field or if they're not being fresh. But this right here didn't have any strings in it whatsoever. Now, the stalks of ours maybe didn't get quite as big as some of the store-bought ones that you buy, but they was a lot more tender, a lot more flavorful.
And you can eat the leaves and all.
Yeah, everything.
On this?
Yep. So growing celery is a great thing to do this fall. Probably something you guys have never done before. If you get this germination process down, hey, you're gonna wing this thing. You got it right here. This is the hardest part right here. Is just getting the plants up and going. Have a little patience with it. To understand it's going to take a little bit. Of course, after the plants get up, do them like you would any of the rest of them. Fertilize them, pump them along there with some 20-20-20 or some Dr. Joe's, whatever you got there.
And you can start harvesting when they're like 6 inches tall.
Yeah, and they just pop right back out. So, one more thing that I'm going to plant probably in the next day is this right here, folks.
I'm about giving up on those.
You about giving? I have two. I in my past I have two, but I'm gonna try to do them early enough this time, and I'm gonna put them in a spot. I'm gonna put them in my lazy garden where I can control the weeds, and I'm gonna grow me a crop of Brussels sprouts this year, knowing that it's gonna take me a long time. I'm growing the Jade cross, folks. They're absolutely delicious if you can grow them all, but man, they test you. They say 90 days to maturity. I think that's a lie, don't you? It takes forever.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so there we have it, folks. One of the great things about what we do here is the friends that we make, the people that we get to know. And one person that we've got to know is a neighbor of ours up in Chula, Georgia, is Brian Wilkerson. Brian stops by here pretty often, and we love to talk gardening when he does because he loves to garden just as much as I do. So we're always talking about what works, what doesn't work. But Brian has brought us some gifts here, and I had to show y'all this right here. Here a while back, he brought some. I believe these are. Oh, is this cedar?
It kind of looks like cedar.
He brought us a couple signs. This is Sheila's garden sign, and I've yet to put them up, so I've got to. And that's Greg's garden sign right here. Brian makes these signs right here.
I think he said he was going to have a booth at the Calico Arts and Crafts in Moultrie. And there's one in the fall and the spring. I don't know which one he's going to be at.
Yep. So he makes these signs.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. He also gifted me a knife. Brian knows how crazy I am about knives. And he gifted me a never used old timer USA made sharpshooter. It's never been used in the sheath right there. Ain't that cool? That knife right there, to me, you know, we talk about I talk about old timers a lot, but the USA old timers brings back a lot of memories of me. When I was a teenager, this is the knife. This was my hunting knife right here, all the way up till I was probably 30 years old. This is the knife I carried hunting with me, so it has a lot of memories. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that, buddy. He said he had two of them. He kept one for himself and gave me one, but I do appreciate it.
That was sweet.
Yep. I will cherish that knife there, knowing it came from Brian, probably to my dying days. If I can get that clip right there. You may have to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Brian. It's good to meet. You know, the thing about it is we have met so many nice, great people in the last few years, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Think about our friends over in Alabama. Think about our friends around here that we never knew that we've got to know. It's just been a blessing. That's one of the hidden blessings of what we do. All right. Flowers. We got some flowers over there on the side. We want to thank everybody for the support we had last week. My father died, passed away last week. Appreciate all the support. Some people sent some flowers here, and if you was one of them, we definitely appreciate it. If we was in your thoughts and prayers, we definitely appreciate it. Been kind of a tough week, but we get over it. Somebody told me this right here, said the memory, you'll never forget the memory, but it'll get where you can take it better. You never forget, but it does get more tolerable as time goes on. And that's so very true.
Very true.
All right, moving on to Garden of the Week. Man, we got a good one right here.
This was sent in to us by Mary.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to save that one for last.
Yeah, I'll see that one. Mary Wesley Crotzer from Clarksville, Tennessee, Zone 7B. She shared these on Facebook, and we asked her to send us the photos. It's her first time growing loofah, and her 7-year-old daughter, Abby, chose to grow this year. Yeah,
so I'm going to run through the pictures right here. And folks, we got somebody in the office here that grew loofah for the first time this year. And she has sent me pictures. She's so proud of herself for her loofah. She talks about loofah is fun to grow. If you've never grown it, you probably need a trellis on it. First time we grew it was years ago on
our back
fence down there. But loofah gourd is, I'm talking about just a hoot grow. This is some of them right here, right there. And you can do all sorts of things with them. You can actually eat them when they're young. There she is right there. Ain't she proud?
This is Abby.
Look at Abby showing her loofah gourds off
They
there.
started the seeds from Hoss late March. It took a while for them to germinate, and then they exploded. Yeah,
loofahs like warm weather, so it's hard to start them too early. They ain't going to do well. And there again, if you plant them too late, you can have some disease on them like I had on my gourds. So the ideal time is to plant them about the same time you would okra. When the ground warms up good, you get them in the ground.
Did you bring some of that roselle in?
I didn't. I forgot about the roselle. Folks, our roselle is blooming.
The new roselle, not the one we carry, the one we hope to carry next year. We're growing it for seed stock.
We got a new variety called St. Kitts.
It actually has blooms on it, and it's the end of August.
Yeah, so we're excited about that because what we think it's going to do is be able to give people in northern climates, northern zones from us, the opportunity to grow and be successful growing roselle. If this one turns out to be like we think it's going to be, I think people up all the way up to Tennessee is going to be able to grow it.
Right. We sent out some free seeds. If you got some of the seeds and actually planted them, let us know how they're doing.
Yep. All right, so the old goat. Now, somebody said last week that they've been watching the row by row for a long time, and he never knew what the old goat was. The old goat, well, I'll show a picture of it sometime. But the old goat's on the set here somewhere. It's a little figurine of an old goat. And if you find it, put it in the comments below, and we will draw next week for this week's winner. So today we're drawing for last week's winner. For the location of the old goat, you have to put it in the comments below. And this week's winner is Kelli Webb. Kelli, send us your information to
support@growhouse.com.
And we will send you a wonderful pair of, the only way you can get these if you're the winner of the old goat, these Get Dirty socks right there. And you will be, as I like to say, the talk of the town. Sporting around in your Get Dirty socks. We got Petals to the Past coming up. Well, we're probably not going to be able to make that this year. It's in September, right?
Yeah, we've got some family coming down around that weekend, so we're unsure.
Yeah, unsure. But anyway, if you're close to the Petals of the Past, what's the dates?
September 14th, Jemison, Alabama.
Yep, make plans for that. We're there. All of our friends will be there. It'll be a wonderful time. So if you can work that in, I would highly recommend you doing that. We've got strawberry plants for sale. We've got garlic for sale. And folks, you can now go on our website and go ahead and pre-order your onion plants for November. We've got them on the site as well. So we've got all kind of things coming up in the fall as far as elephant garlic, hardneck garlic, softneck garlic, strawberry plants, and onion plants. Go ahead and pre-order those when they come in. When it's time for you to plant, we will ship them to you. And we've got 2 new varieties of onions this year. We've got Red Creole, which is our red onion, Red Creole is a little bit of a spicy onion, but a lot of people like red spicy onions.
And what was this red that we grew last year?
That was so far last year. And then we've got Texas 1015, which is a Texas sweet onion, a globe-shaped onion. They're for people like those Texas-type onions. And then we got Vidor, which I think is the best onion out there is Vidor, in my opinion. But anyway, we got those onion plants available. We're going to be shipping those in November. You can go ahead and sign up, go ahead and purchase yours. Make sure that you have them. We sell a lot of them. We'll probably sell out. So there you have it. Thank you for joining us. You know, it's fall of the year, and I'm going to do a video later this week on some more unusual things you can plant. But think about all those unusual things that it's time to plant this time of the year. Almost just a little hint out there: super beef, Felicia, calendula. All kind of things that we can have fun growing in the fall of the year. Thank you for joining us. Now get out there and get those hands dirty.